Hey, this is Jody Denberg, and this is KUTX at Home. And today we are at home with Austin's award-winning singer-songwriter, Patty Griffin, who we haven't even seen since she won her big-time Grammy for her last album. Good to see you, Patty.
You too, Jody. How are you?
I'm good. I'm here in Central Austin and pretty much at home most of the time. How about you?
I'm doing okay. I'm in Central Austin too, just probably a mile or two from you. And yeah, same here. We've just been at home pretty much straight since March 13th, like everybody else. It's
You
weird.
were on the road in Australia and you had to cut your tour there short. Was that the end of your world tour for that period anyway?
It was, and we were in Brisbane, Australia, and it was the day the World Health Organization announced that this was pandemic, um, and then at the same time, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson were in Brisbane with COVID-19 in a hospital, and I went, okay, I can't ask one more person to come to a show, and it was too late to cancel our show that night, but we couldn't, and we had to announce it the next day. So we couldn't even say goodbye to the touring, year. We couldn't do a big ending, and we'd sort of keep it on the down low and come home and write a note the next day online. And I miss those guys, and we had a little more touring to do. We were supposed to be out with Mavis Staples right now. We're not. So.
Well, belated happy birthday. Did you make it home in time for your birthday in March?
I did. Yeah, I had my pandemic birthday via Zoom. It was very exciting.
You and I had plans to be on the radio together for the second year in a row for KUTX's South by Wrap-Up show, and you were going to guest DJ again with our friend from Rolling Stone, David Frick.
I know. I was so excited. I was very much looking forward to that.
Sharing music, and I mean music that's not your own, is something that you really have a passion to do. And right now you're doing online these Friday features. Tell me a little bit about those.
Well, I noticed that I have a passion for it. I did this a couple of interviews last year, starting off the tour, and they asked me about things that I liked, and also doing that guest DJ with you and David last year. I was so excited to make a list of songs that I love and talk about it. And I realized I do have a passion for it, and it is kind of eclectic. So, and I figured in this pandemic, it brings me joy. So I can come up with one of those a week, and it's, I can write a song, but I want to make sure what I'm putting out there right now, especially, is something I really feel like has great use. And so I want to make sure I'm writing something quality at the moment. So I could write you a song a week, but I'd rather play you something incredible that somebody else already has done, that maybe you haven't heard before, or maybe you know, and we can all dance to that day.
So follow Patty on her social platforms for these Friday features. Last Friday you had Eddie Bo, and I think you said that Buddy Miller and Robert Plant turned you on to this song when you were touring with the Band of Joy on the bus late at night?
I don't think they turned me on to the song, but they turned me on to the artist, and the era, like the whole New Orleans funk thing. And then I just went online and found Eddie Bo, and then I found these great funk records through Robert and Buddy that aren't available online. But if you go back, you can find Dinky Doo, which is the song I put up to. I think it's done in the 50s, when he was out on the circuit. And it's just, the whole catalog is like that. And David last year had, information about him that I didn't know, and it made it all the better. It made it all much more exciting. Like they were all in the same room together. recording these things. And so you can hear the fun they're having when they're recording it. And it's just, it's so cool that, you know, what drives every musician to do what they do. I mean, when you find a musician and they're pure fun, you know, I mean, Eddie Bo's stuff is pure, let's have a good time. And, you know, you can't imagine that, you know, being that his life was easy, you know, and he created fun for himself and others with his work. And I think that's just it's a pretty powerful thing. See, that's why I'm doing these Friday features. I just talk for like 5 minutes straight about it, you know, which is why I can't be a DJ either. They'd be like, play music, you know?
Oh no, we have a gig for you whenever you want it. Look for those Friday features of Patty's online, Patty's Friday features. So what are your earliest musical memories, since you're so passionate about sharing not only your own music, but other people's? I think you were the youngest of 7 siblings. So was it the kind of thing where the older brothers and sisters trickled down the music to you, or how did you?
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, I featured an artist in my Friday features that was introduced to me by my oldest brother, Joe, who was one of the big influencers of my musical taste, and through what he brought into the house. Like, he brought in Heart Attack and Vine, Tom Waits' Heart Attack and Vine, the year that it came out, you know. He borrowed it from somebody, and it, you know, remained in our house for probably, you know, 6 months or so. And that was my introduction to Tom Waits. And so anyway, he's still doing it. At the beginning of the pandemic, he sent me this video of Lido Pimienta and said, I love this song. And I said, holy cow, me too. I love cumbia anyway. So this is like cumbia on steroids. It's so beautiful. And so I decided to feature her. Yeah. And also I have to say, the originator of my love of music goes to my mom exclusively. And I go back to that again and again. Her voice was just stunning voice. I really thought everybody's mother sounded a little bit like Ella Fitzgerald. I was surprised to find out that just my mom did, you know, and a few others out there. She really could sing. And
Well, bless.
yeah, I had it all the time.
Well, blessings to your mom and gratitude on this day after Mother's Day. How about your love of gospel? I know you had sung with Mavis Staples on a collection, and that kind of led to the album Downtown Church, which earned you your first Grammy. Where did the love of gospel come from?
Well, I think that probably from being a kid, my earliest memories of music and the sort of more organized fashion outside of my house were in church with, you know, they had nuns I grew up Catholic, and there was like this balcony behind you, and there, you know, the altar was in the front, and this balcony up there full of nuns singing. And to me, it was like one of the most beautiful sounds. It was like angels, you know. And when I was really, really little, before I could even form words, I know I was trying to sing. You know, my mother would tell me that we couldn't shut you up. So we would just go, you know, cover my mouth. And then I knew it wasn't cool to sing, and I wasn't allowed to sing, but nobody told me I couldn't whistle. So I would try to whistle. Just really wanted to make some music. So along with everybody else. So I think that that's really that has probably some connection to my interest in the music that is spiritual. And it was an easy fit for me. I walked into Craig Ross's studio probably 20 years ago, and he was playing Freedom Highway, and I hadn't heard it ever. And I said, what is that? And he said, it's Freedom Highway, Staple Singers, you need this. And I think he maybe gave me a record, gave me my first copy of it. And it stayed on my CD player for 10 years straight. I think I just hit it over and over and over again and sang all the parts, you know, tried to figure out who was doing what. And it's very, very hard. Actually, if anybody's listened to those records and tried to find out where the harmonies end and where they begin among the family members, it's hard because they're family and they're so woven together that you can't even hear where they start and where they end. I mean, it's just the most incredible, complex, beautiful, kind of symphonic arrangement of voices, you know. And I just spent years with the records, and then I got to work with Mavis, um, and that I thought, well, I should. When they asked me, would you be interested in doing a gospel record? I had no background other than the Staples, my interest in the Staples, and maybe a little bit of Sister Rosetta Tharpe, and that was it. And so I thought this would be good for me because then I can really educate myself on what else is out there in that world. And Buddy Miller is a friend of mine, and this is one of his areas of expertise, and it all made sense. And I'm really, really, it's funny because now I'm so grateful to have the music from that record to sing on stage. And the last few years especially, I feel like it's been this thing that people need. You know, it's this transformative music. It has the ability to, like Eddie Bo, but in a different way, change the energy of a room into something very uplifting. And we need that. So I'm grateful to people that created it, you know, Swan Silvertones and the Staple Singers and Sister Rosetta, and, you know, Dorothy Love Coates. There's so many great artists out there, Mahalia Jackson. You know, what they left, the legacy they left is, you know, pretty necessary right now.
I hope that things will work out so that you and Mavis can do the dates that you have scheduled for the fall. That would be great. You'd probably like to leave your beautiful home at some point. You mentioned you're in Central Austin. How did you wind up in Austin, Texas, and about what year did you move here?
I moved here, I think I started moving here in 97. Like I rented a little condo here. I sublet a condo from a friend of my then boyfriend's, and I had a place still in Nashville. So I had like two places to go to. And then I officially moved here. I think I officially moved here, I can't remember, it was 97 or 98. But it's been about 22 or 23 years. I think it's been, I think I officially moved everything, all my stuff down here in the spring of 98. I think that's how it works.
When you're at home, I'd imagine that's where you do most of your writing, and we're at home with you. Do you have a piano, a guitar, a certain method that you like to use when you want to write a song?
It's such a mishmash over the years of things that I do. Sometimes I'm on a very rigid schedule, and that's what works for me. And then I just have to, sometimes I just go, and I have to throw myself into something I don't know anything about. Like I had a mando, and I started playing that mandolin, and I just started making myself work with the mandolin. But you know, pretty standard is guitar. You know, and it's there. I have a 12 string I'm working on right now a lot. I've been asking around different people I know about different kinds of 12 strings, because the one I have is way too big for me to actually hold and carry on stage, but I'm in love with the sound. So right now that's sort of been one of the things I've been messing around with, is putting a 12 string into an open tuning that I don't know and seeing what shows up from there. And I have lots of time to experiment right now, almost too much time. I don't have any deadlines. So it requires a little bit of self-discipline, you know, which I don't actually have every day.
Well, I know you don't have a band. I see you have a dog. Do you have a guitar handy? Could you play?
And this
Oh,
is my band. Yeah, I have a band of dogs.
Well, introduce us to your dogs, and if you have a guitar handy, maybe you could do something that you've been working on.
Yeah, we've been working on a little number. This is Zeke right here. He's my yellow Chihuahua, and this is my friend Sal, and he's my brown Chihuahua. And Sal is when I got Sal, I noticed right away I would be doing some fake opera singing, you know, like singing with Maria Callas, which I can't really do, but I can fake it. And he started singing with me in this really great voice. So we've taken advantage of Sal's singing ability, or you know, like he's a good touring dog. Zeke's a little scared of touring, but Sal's on the road as much as we can get him. So we would warm up the shows. At soundcheck, we'd always sing to Sal first and get him to sing. It sort of like became our good luck charm. And now that I'm home with these guys, I'm really trying to get them to sing with me a lot. And they do pipe in out of nowhere. They'll just start singing. So I thought, I'm going to actually write a song and see if I can get them to do this. And we had 3 very successful rehearsals of this, and then the last rehearsal right before we started this, everything fell apart. So I don't know how this is gonna go, but I wrote this song for us to sing as a band, and we're gonna, should I do it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's if they don't pipe in, oh shoot, now they're blocked out. We gotta see them. If they don't pipe in, then it's going to be super lame because it's not much of a song. The yellow Chihuahua and the brown Chihuahua when walking in a rain shower, start to feel on a little yellow flower. Yellow Chihuahua and brown Chihuahua. Times just know. And you don't have to show it because you're a Chihuahua. You got that little dog power. And when you're sad and blue, the whole world is looking down on you. Be true to your power. Be proud you're a Chihuahua. Yellow Chihuahua, brown Chihuahua, and when walking in a rain shower, stop to pee upon a little pink flower. The yellow Chihuahua and the brown Chihuahua. Sometimes you just got it, and if you got it, you can spot it. If you really want it, maybe you gotta be on it. It's she's everywhere, but you gotta do what any good Chihuahua would do. Be true to your power. Be proud to a Chihuahua. There you go. They did it. That was not our best, but it was pretty good. And it required a lot of cheese. They've eaten more cheese than is a good thing for dogs to have. But
oh, that was something. And the rhyme Chihuahua and Powa, that was great. We're at home with Patty Griffin and her Chihuahuas, and I gotta stop laughing.
I bet you've never had anybody that needed cheese to get through a song before in all of your years.
No, that was a first in many ways, actually. Um, I asked some folks online if they had any questions for you, and I got a few, and I thought I'd toss them at you. Uh,
Okay.
Tom Friedrich asked if you have a favorite cover of one of your songs.
I think the number one I always go back to is Solomon Burke doing Up to the Mountain. I got to be there when he did it, and I just, it was really, really special. And I still think I go back to that one over and over again. There's a lot of really good ones. You know, I think Kelly Clarkson has knocked a lot out of the park when I've heard her stuff. You know, I love her voice, especially. But I always go back to Solomon Burke for sort of the whole raison d'etre. You know, you just go, holy crap, that's amazing. You know, that he did that. So, and was so great. You know.
I mean, having Solomon Burke sing a song about Martin Luther King, that's such a full circle moment. And Kelly Clarkson did an amazing version of that with Jeff Beck on American Idol. So
Yeah.
many great covers of your songs: Dixie Chicks, Emmylou, Bette
Yeah.
Midler, Miranda Lambert, Linda Ronstadt. So picking one, I don't want to, I want to make sure that I give some props to those others. Nakia asked me if you are familiar with the music of Daniel Johnston and if you'd ever covered one of his songs.
I've never covered one of his songs, and I've known about him for a long, long time. And I think it's a great idea actually to dig in there and see if there's a cover to do, because those songs are they're so pure. You know, they're just pure from, you know, and that it's a rare, rare thing. And I also feel like within that, there, you know, like covering a Daniel Johnston song, there's a lot of room to put your own heart in, you know, because it's so completely wide open, and you know what I mean. When you listen to him, there's spaciousness about it. It's a good idea. I should look into that.
Thanks, Nakia. And Amy Zamaripa asked me, who are your top 3 muses?
Ooh, top 3 muses. Ooh, that's personal information.
And a tough
I would say
question.
my family, and my family. You know, I think that I always go back and dig into that dirt and that and pull from that well. I think there's a lot that's happened in the way of my own personal evolution and working on songs that come from stories within my family life and past life, you know, before people I didn't know, but just family history and that sort of thing.
Almost always you write by yourself, but you've had some high profile collaborations. You were a member of the Band of Joy. You were a member of when it was I want to get it right, Three Girls and Their Buddy with Buddy Miller and Emmylou Harris and Sean Colvin. Do you ever write songs with other people?
I have, not very often. On the last record, I collaborated a little bit with David Polkingham. You know, you can't stand next to that guy's guitar playing and not want to pull a little bit of that into what you do, because he's just such a craftsperson that you can't believe the soul and depth of what he knows how to do with his hands on a guitar. So I had, I would start a song. There were 2 songs on the last record I started, and I sort of brought to Dave and say, okay, I'm not going to mess this up anymore. You know, just fill this out, fill in the blanks. And he did, and it was really, really great.
David Polkingham, the guitarist with you on this last record and tour, Conrad Chacroon on drums. What a great band that you took out and that made the Grammy-winning record.
Yeah, and they were just, it was just such a special year. And you know, it's funny, it's almost like I had a premonition. I thought it was because I had come from being sick and had to sort of work my way back physically to be able to do what I was doing, and wasn't sure if I would be able to do it, but I had such gratitude in the last year, and we got to go to so many beautiful places, and every place I went, wow, this is amazing, and maybe I may never come back here again. I thought, well, I'm older, you know, I mean, who knows how much longer. And those guys, every night, the energy they brought made those shows so just special. I mean, you can't have a tour without, like a year of touring without having a couple of gigs where you go, you know? But I would say there were so few of those that I can actually count them, you know, and on less than 3 fingers, you know. So it really was like this year of incredible shows that, you know, they brought to the table, you know.
You feel your music so deeply and the music of your bandmates, and I feel your music deeply, and I'm just one of millions of people who are a fan of your work. And I've been around sometimes after shows when fans come up to you, and it's pretty intense sometimes because they're touched so deeply by the music. How does that make you feel? And also, how do you deal with that when people come up to you with such intensity?
It used to really scare the crap out of me when I was younger. I didn't know what to do, and I was kind of, whoa, you know. And I think now, in general, it's I have a lot of, I'm really grateful for that, to have that kind of connection with music through you know, through music with other people. And you know, all musicians, this is what we do. We put an instrument on, or we stand in front of somebody, and we change the energy, or we communicate something from somewhere which has never been understood, completely mysterious, and it changes energy, it transforms the energy of something. And I think that I'm always looking for that in art. I'm always looking for that in like the way somebody can. I have a couple of friends who are just brilliant at putting a room together so that everything's like wanting you to sit down in it and just feel good. And I have people who can. I know millions of people who can play music and write songs and sing songs, and they have this magical, it's really nothing less than magical ability to make something beautiful, and make something present here and in others. And by just, there's some power in that creativity, and you know, that's completely mysterious. I'm kind of wandering off track here, but I hey, good. Okay, cheese. We got cheese. It's much more important than the mailman. So anyway, they
No,
were like, we're going on way too long, Patty. Don't even know what you're talking about anymore.
no, I feel what you're saying. And the reason that it comes off sincere and articulate is because you have that same passion about other people's music. So you have the same thing that people have when they come to you. So you can relate to it because you feel that way about others, and we feel that way about you. And Patty, whenever I'm watching, if there's a TV show or a movie, and all of a sudden one of your songs comes on, or I'm listening to one of my favorite Patty Griffin records, collect them all. There's 10 of them. I love them. They're so precious to me and to so many. So I hope you're in good. Is that too much?
No, that was really nice.
Well,
Thank
okay.
you. It's
Well,
really kind.
I hope you have continued good health, and
Thank
I
you as well. You
and
as
I
well.
I hope that this world will allow you to get back out on the road so you and Mavis can do your thing in the fall. And stock up on cheese because I think you're going to need it for a little while.
I know, I know. It's been very useful in my band rehearsals.
Well, kiss the dogs for us. Love you, Patty.
Thank you so much. Baby. Great to see you. We'll see you another time soon, I hope, somewhere.
In person, I hope.
I hope so.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Patty.
Take care out there. Bye.
Bye.